Most people die at 25, but aren't buried until they're 75. They spend their best years trapped in a loop of almost and not quite, waiting for a miracle that never comes. But what if the only thing standing between your current life and a $1 million empire is a single 60-second decision you make while the rest of the world is still dreaming? There is a silent revolution that happens in the dark, and once you see it, you can never go back to being ordinary. This is the truth no one wants to tell you about what it actually takes to win. At 22, Andrew was a bird who felt like his wings were made of lead. He was an ordinary freelance graphic designer living in a tiny, cluttered apartment that smelled of cold coffee and broken promises. Every morning he'd wake up late, his head heavy with the guilt of another missed deadline. His inbox was a graveyard of, "We've decided to go in a different direction," and "Your invoice is still under review." To the world, he was just another freelancer struggling to stay afloat. To himself, he was a complete failure. He started believing that some people were simply born to soar, while he was destined to hop around in the dirt, picking up the scraps. The mental pressure was suffocating, and the uncertainty of his future felt like a storm cloud that wouldn't stop following him. The breaking point didn't come with a loud bang. It came in the suffocating silence of another failed night. Andrew sat staring at a blinking cursor, his mind a static mess of anxiety. He felt like a fraud.
Maybe just a little longer.
But that night, he stumbled upon a passage in an old book about the ancient discipline of his own kind, the birds of the air. He read about how they don't wait for the sun to tell them when to start. They wake in the pre-dawn stillness, reclaiming their purpose before the world can interfere. He decided then and there he would wake up at 5 a.m. But the first morning felt like a physical battle. When that alarm rang at 5 sharp, the air in his room felt like ice. His bed was a warm, seductive trap. His mind screamed at him to stay asleep. That was the real conflict. The war between the bird he was and the bird he wanted to become. For the first time, he chose the discomfort over the regret. The first few weeks were pure agony, but Andrew held on. He used those quiet, sacred hours before dawn to exercise, to clear his mind, and then, crucially, to learn. He devoured books on marketing and soaked in tutorials on advanced design. While the rest of the world was in a deep sleep, his world was expanding. He wasn't just working his normal day. He was adding 4 hours of focused growth before his day even officially began. It was in these silent, unseen hours that the true magic happened. His designs became sharper, his proposals more compelling, and his confidence began to flicker back to life. This wasn't just a habit, it was a defiant act of taking his life back. 6 months of darkness and sweat finally birthed a new light. Andrew launched his own digital agency. The road wasn't easy, there were still rejections, but his 5 a.m. habit had forged a mental armor that nothing could pierce. 3 years later, that lonely bird in the messy apartment was gone. In his place stood the CEO of a $1 million empire, working with international brands. The secret wasn't a lucky break. It was the realization that while talent is a gift, discipline is a choice. You don't build an empire in the light of day. You build the foundation in the dark when no one is watching. The truth is, we all have a 5 a.m. waiting for us. It's not about the clock. It's about the commitment to yourself. If Andrew could turn his life around when he felt the most broken, what is stopping you? The revolution starts tomorrow morning. Will you be there? If this story gave you that spark you needed, please hit that like button and share it. Comment consistency if you're joining the revolution. Subscribe to Wisdom, Life Tales for more stories that feed your soul. Until next time, keep soaring.